The Valorian capital was burning. From orbit, the sky looked cracked. Firestorms moved across the surface like slow red waves. Above the planet, the last defense ships were breaking apart under heavy Dominion fire. Inside a deep underground chamber, the Valorian High Council stood in silence. Their main fleet was gone. 14 colonies were already destroyed. Their shield grid would fall within hours. Everyone knew the truth. This was the end. A young strategist named Lethar stepped forward. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. "There's one option left," he said. The elders looked at him with anger. "We do not speak that name," one elder replied. But Lethar did. Humanity. The room became colder. Humans were not part of galactic politics. They did not join alliances. They did not forgive insults. Long ago, when humans were attacked, no one helped them. They survived alone. And they remembered. "They will not answer," another elder said. "They might," Lethar replied. "And if we do nothing, we die anyway." Above them, another defense station exploded. The ground shook. Silence filled the chamber. Finally, the High Elder gave a small nod. A single transmission beacon was activated. It was old. It was weak. It was never meant to be used. The message was simple. We surrender our pride. We ask for help. The signal left the planet and entered deep space. The Dominion detected it. They laughed. "Humans will not come," their commander said. Then long-range sensors showed something impossible. A distortion in space. One warp signature. Then 5. Then 50. Then the stars began to disappear behind something massive. The Valorians sent one desperate message. Humanity answered. The stars did not explode. They did not flash. They simply disappeared. One by one, bright points of light were covered by dark shapes moving out of warp. The Dominion sensors began to fail. Screens flickered. Officers shouted numbers that made no sense. There were too many signals. Hundreds of human warships formed a perfect wall in space above Valorian orbit. They did not scatter. They did not rush. They moved like one single machine. No battle music. No loud threats. No wild formations. Only silence. The Dominion commander stared at the display, scanned their power levels. The answer came back quickly. "Unknown." Scan their weapons. "Unknown." Scan their shields. "Unknown." The human ships did not transmit fear. They did not show emotion. Their hulls were dark, smooth, and heavy. Each one looked built for war, not for show. At the center of the formation, one larger ship moved forward slowly. It was not the biggest ship, but it felt like the leader. A single message was broadcast on every frequency. "Calm, clear, cold. This conflict ends now." The Dominion fleet laughed again. They still had more ships in number. Their cannons were already charging. "You are too late," the Dominion commander replied. "This world belongs to us." The human flagship did not respond. It only moved slightly closer. Then something strange happened. Every Dominion weapon system powered down at the same time. No explosion. No visible beam. Just silence. Confused officers tried to restart their systems. Nothing worked. The human fleet had not fired a single shot, but the war had already begun. The Dominion commander refused to accept what was happening. "Manual override," he shouted. Technicians rushed to physical controls. Backup systems came online. Emergency power restored a few weapon arrays. For a brief moment, the Dominion fleet fired. Bright beams of energy crossed the dark space. They struck the human wall. Nothing moved. The beams touched invisible shields and faded like rain hitting stone. The human fleet did not rush forward. They did not roar in anger. They did not break formation. Then the human flagship spoke again. "You were warned." And the silence ended. Small flashes of light appeared across the human line. Not loud, not dramatic, just precise. Dominion command ships were the first to fall. Their engines shut down instantly. Their bridge systems went dark. Then warp drives across the Dominion fleet began to fail. Escape was no longer possible. Human strike ships moved forward in clean lines. No wasted motion. No random destruction. Every shot had purpose. Weapon platforms disabled. Shield generators collapsed. Communications arrays erased. The Veilorians watched from below in shock. There was no chaos in the human attack. It looked planned long before the first shot was fired. 3 minutes passed. Half the Dominion fleet was drifting in silence. 5 minutes passed. The Dominion formation was broken completely. 7 minutes passed. The last battlecruiser lost power. At 8 minutes exactly, the human fleet stopped firing. Space became quiet again. The Dominion Armada, once feared across the sector, now floated powerless above Veilorian orbit. No victory cheers came from the human ships. Only one final message was sent: stand down or be erased. For the first time in their history, the Dominion understood fear. The battlefield was silent. Broken Dominion ships drifted without power. Escape pods floated slowly through space. Human ships held position, forming a shield around the Veilorian world. They did not celebrate. They did not speak. On the surface, the Veilorian High Council watched the sky in disbelief. The firestorms were still burning, but above them a wall of human steel now stood between them and extinction. A secure channel opened from a human flagship. A single figure appeared on the main screen of the Veilorian chamber. Human, calm, unarmed. The Veilorian High Elder stepped forward. You answered, he said quietly. The human admiral nodded once. You sent a call for help. The Elder lowered his head. We once ignored your kind. When your world was attacked, we chose silence. The chamber grew heavy. The human admiral did not show anger. Yes, he said, you did. Then why? The Elder asked. Why save us? For a moment, there was no reply. Then the admiral spoke slowly. Because we remember what it feels like when no one comes. The Veilorian stood frozen. When our colonies burned, the admiral continued, we sent messages like yours. No fleet arrived. No ally answered. We survived alone. We rebuilt alone. The human fleet behind him remained silent in orbit. We made a decision after that, the admiral said. If anyone ever sends a true call for help, we will answer. The Elder's voice trembled. Even for those who once failed you. The admiral's eyes did not change. Yes. Above the planet, human ships adjusted their positions, forming a perfect protective ring. For now, the admiral added, you are under our protection. For the first time since the war began, the Veilorians felt something stronger than fear. They felt hope. The Dominion fleet was silent, drifting without power. But the human fleet was not finished. From a flagship, a wide transmission was prepared. It was not sent only to the Dominion. It was sent across the entire sector. Every empire, every trade world, every listening post. The message was short, clear, unavoidable. This is a united human defense fleet. The attack on Veilorian space has ended. Further aggression will be met with permanent response. Across the galaxy, leaders stopped speaking. Screens in royal courts flickered. Military commanders leaned forward. Intelligence officers replayed the 8-minute battle again and again. The numbers did not make sense. The Dominion had been one of the strongest forces in the region, and they were defeated without effort. The Dominion commander, now powerless, opened a final channel to the human flagship. You have made enemies today, he said. The human admiral replied calmly. No, you made a mistake. On every Dominion ship, engines briefly powered up again. Not enough to escape, only enough to receive new coordinates. A safe exit path, a warning line. Cross it again, and the fleet would not stop at disabling weapons. The Dominion ships slowly began to retreat. No pursuit followed. The humans did not chase. They had already made their point. Above the Veilorian world, the human fleet shifted position, forming a shield grid in perfect alignment with the planet's orbit. From deep space, new signals began to appear. Other civilizations were watching, and they were beginning to understand something important. Humanity did not seek war, but when someone sent a desperate message, humanity answered, and the galaxy was now listening. The fires on the Veilorian capital slowly began to fade. Human support ships entered low orbit. They did not look like warships. These vessels carried medical teams, repair drones, and shield generators. Within hours, damaged cities received emergency power. The Valorians watched in quiet disbelief. The humans had not only ended the war, they had stayed. Orbiting platforms rebuilt the broken defense grid. Supply ships delivered food and clean water. Human engineers worked beside Valorian crews without pride or ceremony. The High Elder sent a private message to the human admiral. "You have given us more than survival," he said. "You have given us dignity." The admiral replied simply, "You asked, that was enough." Far beyond the system, other civilizations began to adjust their strategies. Military councils changed plans. Empires that once ignored smaller worlds now reconsidered. One truth was spreading across the stars. If a desperate call was real, humans would hear it. In Dominion space, commanders reviewed the battle again and again. 8 minutes had changed the balance of power. They had believed the Valorians were alone. They were wrong. Above the restored Valorian world, the human fleet prepared to leave. Not all of it. A protective group would remain. But the main armada powered its warp drives once more. Before departing, one final message was sent across open channels. "We do not rule. We do not conquer. But we do not ignore those who ask." Then the stars bent. The fleet vanished. On the Valorian capital balcony, Ledhar looked up at the sky that was no longer burning. They had sent one desperate message. Humanity had answered, and from that day forward, no world in the galaxy would ever feel completely alone again.